morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and as you can see, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to Shahid. So let's start off with me sharing with you what my vision for Shahid is. So we aspire, and I think we pretty much are at this point in time, the leading global platform for Arabic content. And really what I focus on at this point in time is to redefine how audiences are engaging with Arabic content globally, and you'll hear me talk about that a few times. But before we go, and before I share about the great story and the great business that we've built, I think it's important to potentially share a bit of the history and where do we come from. Maybe a lot of you are aware of Shahid, even though we are the #1 streamer in the Middle East. So we started off in 2008, and we were launched pretty basically as a pure catch-up service for TV. And as streaming started gaining popularity by 2014, we launched a subscription model attached to it. And it was only really in 2020 that we decided to invest in SVOD, and we actually relaunched the platform with a new user experience, a revised brand. At that point in time, we changed it to Shahid VIP, and with a new content calendar. And that really helped us gain a lot of momentum. In 2021, that's when I joined. I joined specifically to launch sports and the live experience. And I spent at least the first 18 months working with the team on really getting the foundations right so that we could solidify our position on SVOD. So from identifying the target audiences that we wanted to go after, redefining the content calendar, fixing our go-to-market, all of that work basically allowed us to, by the time we got to 2022, we were the #1 SVOD streamer in the Middle East. Because we had built a really strong foundation, we took a bold move in 2023. We actually decided to relaunch the AVOD side of our business. And we were the first streamers to go live with FAST in the Middle East. And we actually moved 85% of our content from behind the paywall in front of the paywall. And what that really allowed us to do is by the time we got to 2024, we were a pure hybrid streamer, generating incredible growth still from SVOD and driving a phenomenal growth on the AVOD side as well. And that really made us a center story of MBC Group's IPO, which happened at the end of 2024. Fast forward to today, we continue to innovate, and you'll see it a bit later on in the presentation. We've again innovated in the Middle East. We're the first streamer to launch shorts, and I can assure you there's a lot more to come. So what makes Shahid so unique? Well, being part of the MBC Group means that we've got well over 30 years of content, so we offer incredible variety to our users across all the genres. But really what makes us special is the fact that we tell local stories. We know local stories, and we are able to tell local stories in an authentic manner. We also are, as I said, we are a true hybrid model, so we offer users the option to consume our content with ads or ad-free. And we have a platform or product that competes with the best worldwide, and we provide an excellent user experience. When I joined, one of the first things that I did was to redefine or basically rebuild our data world. So from the ground up, because data is incredibly important for us. Not only does it power our decision making, because we are able to understand exactly how users behave and then make much better informed decisions, but we're actually using the data to improve the user experience. A lot of teams talk about AI these days. We are actually building AI models, so things like churn prediction model, content moderation, CRM communication and recommendations. We are actively doing that. And I would actually be bold enough to say that we're probably one of the leading platforms globally that are actually using AI to the extent that we've already started using it. We also believe in strategic partnerships. So again, in the Middle East context, we've got the most amount of partnerships, which is part of our reach strategy. So be it with telcos, OEMs, retailers, airliners, all of these partners work with Shahid. And last but not least, an incredibly important point is that we've got fandom and community. Early on when I joined Shahid, I realized that having marketers and community managers locally based who understand the dialect is an incredible strength to be able to actually grow an online presence that's significant. And Shahid, I'm very proud to say, has got the biggest social community in the Middle East with the most engagement. And you'll see, I'll give examples as to why that's so important for us and how we've basically become a very highly recognized and much loved brand, not only in the category, but actually in general as well. So let me talk about our content. So we unashamedly release the best content in the region, and I'll give you a few examples, whether it's Saudi titles like the drama Rashash or Tanawiyat al-Nasim, which are based on true stories and really resonate with the audiences, or Casa Street, the one at the top. There was a lovely original that we launched in Morocco about street kids, which broke all records for us in that market. Or comedies, Egyptian comedies like Mado Ali, about a semi-dysfunctional family that's trying to make things work. Or the highly addictive Turkish adaptations, which are now Arabic adaptations like Al-Thaman and Kharif Al-Kab, which keep on bringing audiences to the platform every day, time and time again, because they just get so invested in the stories. And no other platform is able, I think, to do it in as authentic way as we are doing it today. But it's not just about content. So we are also, Shahid is the proud home of the Saudi Premier League, and we've got a variety of football and non-football sports. And this was quite a learning curve for us because obviously we focus a lot of effort on making sure that the user experience on the content side is strong, but we also had to learn that from a sports perspective, often sports fans have got different expectations from a user experience perspective. So we've invested a lot of time and resources on getting the basics right, things like reducing latency, buffering, all of those are very important in sports, but also adding to the experience, like having live stats during the matches, etc. Because again, sports fans really appreciate that from the platform that they are consuming their sports from. Now, surprisingly to me, one of the biggest misconceptions that we've disproven when it comes to sports is that sports fans only watch sports. And I've got a few examples to show you how that is absolutely not true on Shahid. So the first video that I'll show you.
الكلام اللي أنا سمعت فيه عندي له تسجيل ثاني. يا سلام يا عمري جيت.
كفو الله يسعدك والله تتكلم جوار وحده.
It's short just to spare you, but if you're wondering what did I just see, so basically the first video was a mom that actually shared it on our social feed, and she was filming her teenage son and his friends watching one of the dramas that we have on the platform, and you can see how they were basically reacting to the drama as if they were watching a sports match. And the second one is a very famous title, Kharif Al-Kab. Nala said yes to Rashid when he proposed to her, and the audience, there was a ton of fans that were filming themselves and their reaction to that. And again, they shared that with us on social media. So, sports fans very much come to Shahid for the sports, but they very much stay because of the great content that we offer to them. And sports has also offered us the opportunity to really push the boundary when it comes to creativity, and I'll talk about marketing in a second. But here's an example of, with the new season of the Saudi Pro League, we ran a campaign on TikTok, and we were recognized globally by TikTok as one of the most creative and engaging campaigns that has happened in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and you can see the numbers that we've put there. We ran a really fun campaign where fans had to share videos of themselves and do a particular challenge, and it not only created a lot of kind of virality when it comes to Shahid and the fact that the season was starting, but for TikTok it worked incredibly well as well, because they got an amazing case study and great numbers, which they like to quote globally as well. All right, but we are talking about connected TV, so let me share with you what our ad and monetization strategy is for Shahid. So as I said earlier on, when we when we relaunched AVOD and moved a lot of our library in front of the paywall, immediately we saw benefits from that. So one number to quote, back in 2022, we had about 3.5 million hours being consumed. That immediately jumped to 8 million hours at the end of 2023. And as we continued to put more content in front of the paywall and launching fast channels, etc., you can see that up until last year, in non-Ramadan months, our audience has actually grown to over 14 million monthly active users, which is quite significant. If we zoom in specifically onto connected TV, the metrics that matter, you can see in terms of users, playtime, inventory, those have all grown exponentially, and we don't see them slowing down. And one of the misconceptions that might happen is you might say, okay, well, that's all coming from KSA. Well, it's actually not true. When it comes to, again, connected TVs, we're seeing that a lot of the consumption is coming, it's spread geographically for us. It's not just coming from Saudi Arabia, which of course is incredibly important because our brand advertisers want to be able to operate across the region, not just in one market. When it comes to our connected TV presence, we believe in partnerships. In a world where everyone's trying to be the aggregator, we still believe in the power of partnerships, and we are the sole local brand present in all major connected TV platforms, and we're actually physically present in the homes as well through the remote controls. We're the only local brand to be able to do that, and it's no surprise that because of all of these partnerships that we've been able to do, that 60% of our SVOD viewership today is coming from connected TVs, and again, we only see that improving. The most important thing is for our advertisers, we offer a number of benefits, particularly three, which are the ones that they care the most about. So high completion rate, which ours is above 94%, high viewability at above 95%, and very important for our region, we are brand safe. So when advertisers engage with us, they know that their brand is going to be placed next to content that they can trust. And so it becomes a no-brainer why advertisers want to partner with Shahid, and we are incredibly proud of being able to do that. Now, one of the advantages of us being a local player is we're nimble enough to be able to create bespoke ad formats. So what I'm showing you here is an example of an ad format called the Ramadan Timer, which basically allows an advertiser to be present all the time on the AVOD side, so getting incredible brand reach. But it actually serves a utility for the users as well, because it tells the users when is the next iftar time coming up. So this is just an example. We've got many more of how we are able to develop ad formats that are culturally relevant and to basically, compete with other players where they can't necessarily do this. All right, let's shift gears and look at marketing for a second.
كل واحد بالمدرسة يعرف مقداره. ايش دخل امك انت ذاك؟ حقين المخدرات. نورتنا بثانوية النسيم. وإذا قلت لك أن نهاية السنة أنت قطاية.
بنات، مخدرات، كل شيء.
عبد الله الحق سيارتك.
اللي محتاج مع التعليم تربية بربيه.
يظنون انهم يعرفون النسيم، بنعلمهم حنا مين.
ثانوية النسيم. ثانوية النسيم.
ثانوية النسيم. الرجال.
Hopefully you can see from this title, again, it's easy to say, we all run 360 integrated campaigns, but it's actually not easy to pull these kind of campaigns off. And we do this for all of our heroes, all of our originals. This was an excellent title to work with because it's based on a true story. It's essentially a teacher that joins an all-boys school in Saudi, and he wants to modernize teaching methods, but he gets confronted by a gang of very difficult boys. So not only was this a pleasure to take to market because the story is incredible and we had all these characters that we could work with, But it was also incredible to see that because of our marketing campaign, we actually sparked a national debate. There was a lot of people talking about their own experience of going to an all-boys school. There was a lot of teachers that came out and started speaking about the role of teachers and how does that change in today's Saudi context. So again, a really great example of how we know how to tell local stories in an authentic way and how our marketing machine actually brings them to life, that it actually becomes a national phenomenon. We are in the holy month of Ramadan, so I can't not mention Ramadan. Ramadan is obviously an incredibly important religious and cultural point in time in the Middle East. And for the last few years, Shahid, we've been using the tagline Ramadan Mana, which means Ramadan with us. And that's because we truly have become the one destination for anyone to view content during Ramadan. It's something that we're incredibly proud of. Not only allows us to give the best content to the audience at a very important point in time, but as you can imagine from an AVOD perspective, it allows us to also help advertisers with their marketing objectives during this important period of time. Now, just to give you an impression of or an idea of how big this actually is, on the night of Ramadan itself, we launched over 70 titles on the platform, covering over 200 Arab stars, and you can see with a really good geographical spread, because of course we want to be relevant in the Gulf, in the Pan-Arab region, so Levant, in Egypt, Morocco, etc. So it's quite a significant task to be able to do. And again, it's something that we're incredibly proud of. Think about it as this. We basically run a 30-day Super Bowl every day, which is exhausting, but really important for us as well. So I just wanted to share that. All right, lastly, one of the things, again, because we are a smaller player, we like to take risks. One of the things that we did last year, we ran an awesome brand campaign during Saudi National Day. It was really funky and youthful. And then one of the ideas that we had was to go into merchandise. And so we partnered with Virgin Megastore, and we made a few items with our brand on it available. And to our surprise, it sold out. The youth really enjoyed that. And so we've used this as part of amplifying our marketing campaign. So for a lot of our originals and our hero campaigns, we've also been adding merchandise as an angle to that. And it's been an interesting experience. We love the fact that people love our brand. And so we'll see where we take this forward. So in closing, so my tripod, my team always hates it when I bring this up. So I recently completed a half marathon. So I use running as an analogy. Running as a concept is quite easy. It's quite simple, right? You put one foot in front of the other, and with a bit of momentum, off you go. But for those of you who run, you'll know it's certainly not easy to do. Managing a streaming platform is very similar. The concept is simple. You need to have good content that appeals to the audience that you're trying to target. Your go-to-market needs to make sense, things like your marketing, your pricing, your branding, and your product and your platform need to work every time, and you need to innovate. Simple concept, not necessarily easy to get all three right all the time. But that is our focus, on making sure that the tripod is always working. So looking ahead, what are the things that we're going to be focusing on? Well, no surprises. We're going to carry on betting on our Shahid originals, using those to go to market and to expand our audiences. We're going to keep on improving our sports experience. We are going to keep on looking towards partnering with international players to gain reach, and I'm quite keen on having those conversations here this week. And then, of course, from a product perspective, we'll continue to innovate, make sure we bring the best user experience possible so that we can continue to monetize on the ad side and on the subscription side. And with that, I thank you for your attention.
سر برايد
أبيك تحرق حرب
مجتهد.
احمد، انا حاسه ان البيت ده هيبقى وشه حلو قوي علينا.
وين المشكلة؟
تعرف لو مالك أخي شو كنت سويت فيك؟ فكرك عايشين مرة المطبعة.
العائله هي دي
يا الله سترك.
زي الحب في شعر العشاء وقوه.
شاهد شورتس، حكايات على الماشي.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank Natasha for being here during Ramadan, which is obviously peak TV period. So thank you for making the time in what was really a masterclass in innovation on what was a pay TV platform in a region which, let's put it into context, 5 years ago when I was doing business plans in the region, it was considered a really challenging region. Now you've delivered, I think it's 63% revenue growth last year in a region where it's the highest and the fastest CTV growth area in the world. I think 13% growth anticipated in the next 5 years versus 11 globally and 9 in the US. Advertising revenue in the region is on the up, I think in the 60+% for online ads, which is quite extraordinary given what's happening in other territories. So very impressive result that demands a really innovative mindset, that demands also, you've talked about shorts, being bold. So let's talk first of all, you have a background in Microsoft and Google. Let's talk also first of all about the ecosystem on a CTV platform, which a lot of people here talk about, but you've actually engaged with testing with fan bases. You've got very expensive rights in live sports that you actually launched in the region. Talk about your strategy there and how you've made it work in your hybrid model, business model.
Yeah, so I mean, sports is one component. Obviously, content is our bread and butter, and the strategy that we apply is pretty much what I was saying, right? So we identify, where are the fandoms that we can go and grow and engage. And for me, it's been incredibly important to have a team that is representative of the market that we operate in, and so that allows us to be that much more meaningful and more authentic in how we engage with the fandom. And then we partner very closely. So we bring the audience, and then I partner very closely. I see Judd sitting at the front there. He runs the MMS team who does all the sales with the advertisers. So we work incredibly closely together. I bring the audience, I create the brand. He then comes and demands all sorts of ad formats and things from me, which we are able to deliver, and then we go to market together. And he's been able to grow the advertising side really strongly, while I've been able to give what we need, do what we need to do to grow on the AVOD side, but still very much protect and grow the SVOD side at the same time.
I think that's what is particularly interesting and innovative, and you've actually got now a very significant AVOD base, but it feeds into a subscriber base which is rapidly growing. I think I saw a number just in the region that SVOD the subscribers were growing at 68% versus Netflix 22% in the last 2 years. Yeah. So it's giving you an idea of what happens when you're really bold and you really innovate in that region. Your short strategy, is that, because a lot of people have talked about it, no one's really implemented it, including, by the way, the major US streamers. Yep. So how is that working out for you, and what's your thinking there? I know that it's a very big Gen Z region. People are very engaged in digital first content there. Yep. It's very active in social commerce, hence I'm pleased to see that you've capitalized on that in terms of commercial opportunities. Tell me more there. Yeah, so let me, so shorts will cut across both. Just to spend a second explaining. So AVOD, we get a lot of people coming from AVOD that are basically migrating from TV onto digital, but we also have a huge audience that is digital native that comes onto AVOD, and where we can, we try and upgrade them to subscribe to SVOD, and we do that by keeping certain key propositions behind the paywall: sports, kids, and of course our originals. And what we see there is, every month we are able to upgrade a few, but by and large there's also a lot that stay on the AVOD side, which we're completely comfortable with, because there is an audience that wants ad-supported content, and there is an audience that wants no ads and is willing to subscribe for additional content. So that's a really important differentiation, and we keep on working on growing both. Then we've got elements that cut across. Fast cuts across, so both SVOD and AVOD have got access to it, and the MMS team monetizes it across. And shorts, we are seeing it in a similar way. So shorts is available for both SVOD and AVOD customers, and we're looking at shorts strategically to fulfill 3 objectives. The first is to enable the sales team to go and talk to agencies and to brand advertisers with a new format, which they're potentially already investing in with other platforms. So it gives us a ticket to basically be in that conversation. And again, leveraging the fact that we are much loved brands, our content is safe, etc. So we're enabling the sales team to have that conversation. That's number one. Number 2 is that, like you rightfully said, we've got a massive social media presence. We've got a lot of fans. This is kind of the natural progression for them to engage more with our content
through the form of shorts. Again, Gen Z, shorter attention spans, that's the kind of way that they like to consume. So we're simply responding to that because in our region we've got a high percentage of youth that we need to engage with. And then the third element is that frankly, it allows us a way to do to integrate our marketing in a much more in a cleverer way, and it also allows us to do a bit of content discovery. So for the users that are not necessarily on AVOD or on SVOD, it's a really easy way for them to find out about our content. They can share, they can comment, and then we kind of suck them into our world and keep them there, hopefully.
So this is very aggressive innovation, very aggressive change in a market that is high growth by all accounts. There's a human element to that, and there's a leadership element to that. You can't innovate without bringing your teams with you. You're in a very diverse marketplace. You're not just one country. You're many countries with very different DNAs culturally. Can you tell us what your thoughts are on that, particularly going from what was a traditional pay TV environment into a much more complex ecosystem, launching multiple products, very complex products, creating a data-first kind of DNA in the way people look at things. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you for that question. I think the thing that I'm the proudest of is being able to build the team that I've built. And the fact that we're based in Dubai is also, it gives me a lot of leverage to be able to build a great team. And what do I mean when I say that? So the first thing is that I've got regional representation. So, we've got Saudis, we've got Egyptians, we've got Lebanese, we've got, you name it, we've got it. So it's a very important, and I think often, especially the global players miss that point. Because we've got representation in my team, like my team is basically also my user. They're the first ones to come to me and go, this content doesn't work because of this, or it didn't work, So they're actively using, consuming the content. They're the number one critic, but they're also the number one person that makes it work. And they get the nuances. They're part of the fabric. They know how to have the conversation. So I think that that's been a huge part why we've won, particularly when it comes to social media and to marketing. But also the fact that I'm in Dubai means that I can also go and hire best of breed, really. And so when it comes to things like data, etc., I can worry less about having regional representation. I can really go for the best skills in the market. And so if I look at my team, I've got something like in Shahid, I've got about 140 nationalities.
Wow.
So it's incredibly diverse. I've got a really good balance in terms of male, female, whatever metric you throw at me, I'm pretty sure I'm balanced. And what that means again is it's like cliche to say diverse teams win. They really do. And I'm very proud of that. So we've got, the best skills powered by people that are actually part of, of the fabric, and that really allows us to bring the best innovation and the best results.
Well, I'm sorry that we're running out of time because we could talk about this all day. It's been a fascinating dive into a masterclass on innovation and what it means in our industry today. We all know that we're rapidly transforming, and congratulations for all that you've achieved. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Natasha.
Thank you.